I'm dropping off the face of the planet for the next 10 days. I'm kind of scared. I've never had a dopamine detox to this extent before. Yeah, there's been times where I've stayed off my phone for a little bit more than an hour. Tops. This is like full on 10 days, just meditation, no phone, no talking, no eye contact, nothing. I think that this 10-day escape from realities will just make me feel better. And the name of the meditation retreat is called Vipassana, by the way. I don't know how I feel about this, so I'm actually excited to see what type of changes there are in me. I really hope they're good changes. They have to be, right? Damn, it feels weird to be back. That was such an experience. It was a whole other world. The first few days, I was very lonely. They have you so busy at the Vipassana center. Like, you're literally meditating 10 hours a day, and don't worry, they teach you how to do this. You're not just told to sit down and just meditate. This is kind of a mental surgery happening because you're learning this meditation technique. You're applying it to yourself, but you're not perfect. This is probably the first time for many people who've meditated. Hence why there's 10 hours a day with no distraction. You're just doing this over and over and over again. It teaches you so much discipline. I knew I was getting benefits, but I didn't know what they were until like later, which is like day 9, 10. So for the first week, it was really hard. There were days I cried. My perspective on things have really changed. It was like we're doing a surgical operation to change the habit pattern of the mind. How the mind is always reacting to things instead of perceiving it and being equanimous. So something bad happens, you will not react in a negative way, which is what we do in our day-to-day. A lot of what we feel in life start from inside. It's the reaction that we have that comes from inside, which is exactly what Vipassana's technique is. It's how to be equanimous. The one thing that I was really scared about was leaving that environment of high frequency, high vibration, and coming back to reality. Anything stressful were to happen, it's how I react that makes it stressful. And it's so easy to understand these things at an intellectual level, but Vipassana makes you feel it through its technique. But how do you control this reaction? Is it meant to be controlled? How do you do it? Does that exist? You learn all this stuff. I also asked a lot of questions to my assistant teacher. I asked questions like, does happiness exist? Because I struggle right now with even believing that there's a state of happiness that someone can live in because I haven't seen anyone who's happy. And he said, yes, you can just tell when you meet certain people that they're vibrating on a different frequency. If you practice Vipassana, it will come to you. And this is, again, everything that I'm saying is explained way better in the discourses, but obviously you have to like go to Vipassana. I struggle to find like-minded people in my life. I feel like I haven't met people who are going through the same thing. On the last day of Vipassana, you're allowed to talk to people because you need to have a shift from being completely silent for like 10 days straight before you go into the real world so that you're not in complete shock. Because trust me, Vipassana takes you into a whole different reality that I can't really explain. So when I talk to these people, these were such like-minded individuals who I felt like I was wanting to meet, and now here they all are in the same room, which makes sense. We're all the same. We're all seeking the same thing. We're gonna end up bumping into each other on this journey. And that's another thing. Like, if you start the spirituality journey, there are phases of loneliness because you're on the journey alone. You have to do the work inside on your own. But you meet people who are on their own journey, so you have a support system. The way I grew up, it's kind of like if you don't have prestige, you're not successful. But in Vipassana, you actually learn that this is ego, obviously, and this is the image that you're trying to maintain of yourself in other people's minds, which is exhausting. I am so grateful that I went and had this experience because I felt very light. Just being aware of this body, of our sensations, of our breathing, you learn all this stuff. Time for the practical aspects of Vipassana. It's 10 days long, which means you need to bring enough clothes for 10 days, but these clothes are not fancy at all. Do not wear leggings. Don't wear anything tight. We're supposed to dress modestly. You're allowed to talk to only the facilitator and the manager if you have any questions. Otherwise, you're not even supposed to talk to them, and you have your own room over there. Just one bed, one little closet. Very simple. So now to the timetable. There's a gong that goes off at 4 a.m. So you wake up at 4 a.m. You meditate for 2 hours, 4:30 to 6:30. Breakfast, it's at 6:30, and then again you start meditating at 8. 6:30 to 8 was like rest. Rest usually entails going back to your room and you don't do anything. You don't have your phone, you're not allowed a notebook, you can't listen to music, you can't sing, you can't dance, nothing. You're allowed to go outside for walks. So, and then again you meditate from like 8 to 9, and you have like a 5-minute break, and then from 9 to 11 you're meditating again. 11 to 1 is a 2-hour gap, which is the biggest gap you get in the day. 11 to 12 is like lunch, and then 12 to 1 is rest. But within the 12 to 1 you're allowed to ask questions to the assistant teacher, questions on technique, life, whatever questions you have. I didn't have any questions for the first like 5-6 days, and then all of a sudden I had a lot of questions on like day 6, 7, and 8. And I remember walking into one of the sessions and I had my questions in my head. I sat down and I just started crying. It is such a place full of love though, that the facilitator teacher, he was very wise and gave me the answer that I needed. Then after that, again, it's meditation like 1, 2, 3 in the hall, and then you're allowed to go back to your room to meditate 3 to 5. Sometimes if I wanted to push myself, I would stay in the hall, because when I found that I went back to the room, I wouldn't meditate as hard, because it's just easier when you're in the energy of everyone else meditating. You're in a hall full of high vibrational frequency. It makes it so much easier. 5 to 6, you eat fruits and tea. It's very light meals, by the way, that they provide you. It's all vegetarian. This whole thing is not just a detox of the brain, it's also a detox of the body, because they're giving you such healthy foods, essentially living like a monk. Then from 6 all the way to like 7, you meditate again. My favorite part of the day was from 7 to 8:15, which was the discourse. The discourse is where the actual talking and the lecture is given from the teacher. This is a video recording, by the way, from 1992. I received so much insight and wisdom. You know, you've been meditating, you've been applying this technique, and then all of a sudden, all these questions that are in your head are usually answered in the discourse. After the discourse, you have a 5-minute break, and then you meditate all the way till 9. This is the time where I would like shower. You share one bathroom with like 4 people. The facility was amazing. Everything was very comfortable, honestly. When I came out of Vipassana, like when I first looked at my phone, everything was so bright and so stark. It feels different. Before going in, I wasn't trying to have any expectations like, you're gonna be a changed person. Like I wasn't expecting any of that. Now I'm just in a very different state of mind, and I'm not as agitated as I usually am. And my mind is so clear. I need to make sure I keep meditating and need to maintain this surgical operation that just happened. Like, this technique just helps with everything. Like I really honed down on my discipline skills, and obviously that's gonna play into every other area of my life. Even in a more practical sense. The whole thing is practical, but if you are still having trouble understanding if you should do it or not, it's so practical. It'll just help you in every way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what your background is, how much you understand, if you're spiritual, not spiritual, it doesn't matter. This is a very universal thing. I'm going to continue this practice for myself, which is for 2 hours every single day, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. I'm sharing it very transparently without filter, so that you guys have the information available and know that you guys aren't alone on the spiritual journey. I mean, we all popped up on this planet. We don't know why we're here. We can support each other. So that's what this channel is all about. If you do enjoy content like this, you should subscribe. Aside from that, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day. Much love to you all.